to flex the spine or not to flex the spine? Is it safe to do so? If so, when should I do it? How should I do it? We're going to go down the rabbit hole today of lumbar flexion, loaded lumbar flexion, and the association of pain and fear related to lower back pain. Tune in, let's go. Hello, welcome back, and thanks for tuning in. Today we're talking about spinal flexion. What is spinal flexion? Well, anatomically speaking, it's basically the rounding of your spine, opposed to the extension of your spine. Now, more often than not, most injuries happen in a flexed position. Why? Well, because most of our time, if you think about the time you spend in a day, most of it is flexion based. We live in a modern society that is flexion dominant. So if I look at sitting down here, I am in a flexed position all throughout the kinetic chain. My shoulders are rounded, my knees are bent, my hips are flexed, and my ankles are dorsiflexed. So we spend most of our time in this position. Now, if I introduce some movement here, it's not that it's a bad thing, it's just we're too used to it. We get used to it so much, and once we sit down in the chair so much, we end up becoming the chair. So it's not a bad thing to get used to this stuff, but once we introduce some external forces or load, there is potential for some havoc. And a lot of times this is what happens with the back. Bend over to pick something up with a rounded back, ouch, that hurts. And once that injury happens, if we don't address that position and we don't understand what our body's doing, then we open the door to more injuries. So, do we flex the spine? Should we flex the spine? This is a multi-factor response that requires a bit of information. So, if you watch my page, if you follow me, I'm a big proponent of loaded lumbar flexion. I think the stronger you are in this position with load and being able to move to the side, keeping a rounded spine, the more protected you are. So if I get strong in that position, I'm ready to handle it in real life. So when I get thrown into those positions, because we all know life takes us to some weird positions sometimes, we're ready and we're equipped. So, did I start like this? Hell no. Actually, when I was going through back pain, a big problem for me was moving like a robot. I had pain-associated fear. And this is something we're going to talk about later in the video. However, I was scared to move with a rounded back because that's what I was told. The medical professionals, the physicians, the kinesiologists, the doctors, the practitioners were telling me if I don't bend my spine. I was like, okay, well, I didn't really know too much about the anatomy of the spine, how to strengthen the spine, or much about anything because I was just a young kid at this time. But I listened to them. So I avoided rounding my spine, and it didn't really get me anywhere. And being able to confront lumbar flexion is what actually got me to overcoming chronic back pain and becoming structurally sound and protected in the lumbar spine. So it didn't start with loaded lumbar flexion, and I didn't introduce it until fairly recently over the past few years. And I did, at the time that I was going through localized back pain, I did move like a robot and I was avoiding lumbar flexion because it caused me pain. So when do we do it? It's very important. And it's in my belief, with my experience working with athletes, working with people in lower back pain, that if we're experiencing localized trauma to a vertebrae, a facet joint, some sciatica, the discs, if there is some structural damage in the spine, loaded lumbar flexion or lumbar flexion is not for you yet. That's why I say in my previous video, learn how to hinge first. The primary movement that we get is a hip hinge. This is an action that we perform hundreds of times in our day-to-day lifestyle. So in my previous video, I say learn how to hinge first. Well, that's because we gotta learn how to hip hinge first so that we're aware of what a neutral spine looks like and what it feels like, moreover. So once we learn how to hinge, and I only ask for 28 days, 28 days of your life of learning how to hinge properly while doing all the other stuff and taking a holistic whole body approach to the lumbar spine, then we acquire some spinal freedom. And now we've earned the right to flex our lumbar spine, okay? So 28 days of learning how to hinge first primarily, and then introducing lumbar flexion, which I'm a huge fan of, okay? I do all sorts of Jefferson curls, all sorts of loaded lumbar flexion. If you watch my social media, I'm sure you'll see an update of me doing a workout with some sort of rounded spine, because I believe in it. The compression force and the elongating of the spine is very important. Not only that, but you're also strengthening your hip flexors in a compressed range. So this is very important for curing lumbar back pain. However, it's not diagnosed or recommended when you're experiencing lower back pain. So we will get to it, but just not yet. First, let's set the foundation, learn the basics, and then we'll move on to lumbar flexion. And the best way to do it, in my opinion, is just getting the elephant walk, where we get used to compressing the spine, actually pressing down on the dumbbell or the floor, whatever surface that we're using for elevation, and getting some length in the hamstrings and posterior chain. So this is a friendly position to start adding compression force to the spine under lower lumbar flexion, while overcoming perhaps some of the fear associated with lumbar back pain. We progress it to the ground, palms on the floor. It's the same exercise. I'm pushing the ground away. And I didn't start like this, believe me, I did not. It started with my entry point, progressing down to the floor, and within time, progressively overloading. 1% incremental changes each time. So we will get to lumbar flexion. However, for my introduction course of Spinal Freedom, which is fixing back pain and opening the doors to acquiring spinal freedom and being pain-free, we do not do lumbar flexion for the first 28 days. It's not that I don't like it, it's not that I don't believe in it, it's not that I don't understand the benefits of compression forces and elongating the spine. It's just with the complexity of the spine as a structure, the nerves, the vertebrae, the discs, the facet joints, everything that goes through the spine, it's just not recommended when you're experiencing localized back pain. We will do some exercises to address that and then get to a place where we can do it. I hope that makes sense. Now, moving on, we're going to be talking about the relationship with fear and associated with lumbar back pain, lower back pain, okay? So this was a big one for me. I had a lot of fear in my day-to-day life. And the thing is, I was afraid of many things, many day-to-day actions, because I would say, you know, I couldn't do this because I have back pain. Whether it was picking someone up or making love to my girlfriend at the time, everything was just, I had to think about, first thing, my lower back. And the thing is, fear does not discriminate. You might think, oh, I'm not scared to lower my back or lower myself to the ground to pick something up because of my back, but it could be something else that you're avoiding, and that avoidance doesn't lead to solving your fear or your pain. So the pain-associated fear has a definite association with overcoming your back pain. I believe in peaceful confrontation. So the more we put ourselves in a position where we're able to kind of confront fear little by little, we're going to be able to overcome our back pain and overcome the psychological effect that sometimes, actually usually, lingers longer in an injury recovery. You might heal the tissues, you probably are. Many back pain, especially a herniated disc, shows to improve just with time. Most disc herniations heal within a certain amount of time, which is a great thing. But psychologically, there might be a effect and association with overcoming that pain. So we have to find our area of fear and slowly, with time, confront it just a bit, just a little bit further each time. Okay, a little bit further each time, that we're able to move in a way that it increases, it improves every single time, and that we're able to acquire a little bit more range of motion, confidence, kick that fear behind, because living in fear is not a good thing. We got to find a way to face it, rise above it, and just confront it each time. So I do believe that fear is a disease, and if you live in fear, you're not going to overcome everything. The magic happens on just the other side of it. Okay, and I've been there, I know what it's like, and it took me an awful damn long time to overcome fear, and I had to shatter many limiting belief systems. So my hope is to be able to guide you through this process where you can dig in and tap into yourself, your subconscious, your conscious, and overcome this fear that may be hindering you, whether you know it or you don't. Okay, so slowly confronting it and then overcoming it is a way to surpass our pain and our pain threshold and our fear. Okay, I hope this makes sense. So we will not be going into lumbar flexion right away. However, I do not believe that is a bad thing for the overall health of the spine. It's just if we're experiencing pain, we got to take a regressed, systematic approach to getting to a place where we could do that. And this is what my course does in Spinal Freedom. I'm going to link the article in this description about the association with fear and lower back pain, and how pain is associated with the confrontation of lower back pain. Little tongue twister there. Got caught up. Okay, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Spinal Freedom is my 28-day video course. I'm going to continue to educate everyone I know and provide all the knowledge I know about the lower back. If you are experiencing lower back pain, please check out my video course. I'm confident it can help you on your way to overcoming back pain and accomplishing freedom in movement. And that's my hope and that's my goal for at least one person, and we're already doing so great. Please like this video, share it, comment on it if you have any questions. I will continue to upload once a week so that you guys have the information that I wasn't equipped with when I was going through back pain. And I'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching. All the best.